All right, so this is what God told Moses when he was on the mountain. This is what Moses was supposed to talk to the Israelites about. So this is Exodus 19, 3-6. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all the nations, you will be my treasured possession, although the whole earth is mine. You will be," and there's a one next to it, "you will be for me a kingdom of priests and of holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites." Okay. So if we kept the commandments of God, we were supposed to be a nation of priests, a holy nation. That's what we were supposed to be. That's who God had in store for us. That is exactly what he had in store for us. You know, the funny part about that is these curses that he placed upon us are coming to an end. And everything that he had in store for us is still there. He was speaking about us. We are Israel. We are the Israelites. We were the Israelites then. We are the Israelites now. Just our brothers in Israel haven't worked on that yet. See, they're fighting something in themselves that is keeping them from fully understanding what they need to do. Now, I think they know what they need to do. It is just so hard to bring themselves to do that because they are fighting something internally. They are fighting what the rest of the world is fighting. See, when God unleashed how do I say this? When God unleashed a curse on us, how do I say this appropriately? He blinded the minds and placed rage on the people's hearts. He did this on purpose. And I hate to say it, but he did. He did this on purpose. This is purposely done to us because that's simply what a curse is. If we're cursed, we're cursed. So all these people throughout the world, the majority of them being European or Caucasian descent, Romans, older Romans, they hate us. There's no hate. We can't even sugarcoat that. They hate us. There's no denying it. They hate us. They have for thousands of years. It's not just hundreds of years. This has been thousands of years, or 1,000 years, or thousands of years, or something like that. But they've hated us for a long time, and that is because of the curse. Ever since we broke the curse thousands of years ago, that is what happened. Ever since we acquired the curse thousands of years ago, that is what happened. So we've been dealing with these things for these problems, these curses for a very long time. The European Jews they are catching the back end of that. Okay. They are catching the tail end of it. They are a product of it. Okay. Now, even though they are fighting with them inside them because they understand the prophecy like no one else does. They were meant to understand exactly who we are and what we are meant to do. We are meant to liberate the entire world. Black people, the original Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, the originals. We were meant to liberate the entire world. Why do you think we've been taking all this for so long? We are innately a kind race of people. I mean, in Africa, they are extremely kind. And we have a lot of traits such as them. We have always been a very kind people. That's why we've always been dragged into slavery. Think about it, man. We've been in slavery and off and on. We were in slavery in Egypt. We were in slavery somewhere else. We were in slavery in Portugal. We were in slavery over here with the Arabs. We were in slavery even with the Jews. The Jews had us in slavery. The Ashkenazi Jews, I think it was. The Ashkenazis had us in slavery, from what I understand. And then America. where we're still fighting through that slave mentality, that slave. Now, the prophecy in the Bible that God gave to Abraham was talking about the 400 years. But we've been in slavery before that. We've been getting beat up for a long time. When God was talking to Abraham, and he says, hey, your people, Abraham, your people will be in slavery and bondage for 400 years. They will be, they would just, in a nation that is not their own for 400 years, from 1619 to 1619 to 2019, where we're in slavery. And he says, after that 400 years, I will judge that nation. In 2019, the germ was placed upon America, the nation that did this to the black community, which now we know are the ancient Israelites. It says in the Bible that they would steal our language. They would call us bywords. They would put yokes around our neck. There is no one else that fits that but us. They stole our language. We didn't even know what we spoke. We didn't know we spoke, man. Said we couldn't read, we couldn't talk, we couldn't write, we couldn't read. We couldn't write and read English, man, because we spoke Hebrew. But they would never tell us that. There's all these signs around America that says Israelite Hill, Israel Hill, Israel this. Talking about the black people, the slaves. There's old paintings with Jewish stars on us and stuff. And we're wondering what was going on with that. We didn't even see that stuff. And they hid that stuff from us. We're just now picking it up now. We're trying to figure out where all this came from. They knew. But we didn't know, and so we didn't know for hundreds of years. They erased it. They erased it, man. We should have been learning Hebrew this whole time. Hebrew is our first language. We are a very prominent people. We are sophisticated. We are builders. We are educated. We are smart. We are above the rest. We are supposed to be in another place right now, but someone else is dwelling in our place. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to go back to something. Our brothers in Israel, the European Jews, they are Jews. A lot of people want to say that they're not Jews. They are Jews. They're not Jews. They're not Jews. They are Jews. Calm down. Relax. They are Jews. They are part of the tribe. They're part of the 12 tribes. Which one? I have to look into it a little bit more. But they are part of the 12 tribes, 100%. They have control over Israel right now, and they know what they're supposed to do. They've been taught this, believe it or not. They've been taught this. I've heard, I was doing some research. They've been taught what they are going to mess up on. What they have to find in their heart to release. What they need to let go and what they need to release is their racism. They are harboring that evil that is within them, that evil that lives within these European sects, that evil that Donald Trump got along so well with Netanyahu, whatever his name is, Netanyahu, whatever his name is. He got along with him so well because Mr. Yahoo believed the same way. Yahoo loved that risk everything and F it all kind of mentality. That kind of like racist mentality. He knew what was going on. That's why he liked him so much. They get along because he wanted to run Israel like that as well. There are so many Israelis right now that are extremely racist. You go down there right now, and the Ethiopian Jews are treated like dog poop. Treated like dog poop, man. Kept in small, ghettos, like they do us out here until we break out, move out. And, we have to do our own. We have to work 10 times harder for it, though. There's Ethiopians out there that are committing suicide, man, because they're coming out here and they're getting treated terribly. Racist, they're not used to that. They're from Ethiopia. They're treated terribly, man. They're not used to this. We are not that type of people. We are a kind people. But that demon is in them. And that demon that God is allowing to persist right now, because this is just the tail end of it. This is it. He's now finding out Which one are his true people now? He's now reaching out to his people and saying, after all this I've taught you, you're still going to do what you know you're not supposed to do. You're still going to be like this, and that's it. If you're still going to do this, you are now the synagogue of Satan. If you are going to do this, I've already spoken this in the Bible, that there's a sect of people that are dwelling where the real Jews should be dwelling. This is all prophetic, man. Look, at the end of the day, biblical prophecy says that there's going to come a time where we go back home, and those people that are there now, and I hate to say this, but our brothers will work under us. And most of the world will work under us. They don't want that to happen. They're on top. Why do white people want to be the tail? White people don't want to be the tail. They've been the head for too long. Why would you want to be the tail? Now, if some of you out there are thinking I'm getting kind of out of hand now, this is all scriptural. I promise you. This is all scriptural. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, get into the Bible. What does it say in the Bible about the tail being the head and the head being the tail? Because right now, the black people on the world, not just in America, have been the tail for a long time. And that was part of our curse. But it will switch up to where we are the head. And we will remain the head because we are God's chosen people. Now, what I'm trying to get at right now, and this is not, a black power fest here. This is just someone venting that has dealt with this for 30 plus years. So I'm telling you guys the truth. And some of you guys don't want to hear this, but it's just the truth. This is the truth. And I'm speaking the truth. I'm not lying. I'm not over exaggerating. So anyways, back to what I was initially saying. So when God was talking about people being a priest, let's go back to that real fast about him speaking to Moses about those people being priests. So he says, you, again, this is Exodus 19:6, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. Now, in this verse right here, God was speaking of the same people he was speaking to Abram, but it was Abram back then, but Abraham. These are the same Israelites he was speaking to, his people. These are the same people he's talking about Moses, to Moses. These are the same exact people. You will be for me, you Israelites, will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. Now, it's very funny that there are all these documentaries and now scientists, and they were getting really excited about a very particular tribe in Africa called the Lemba tribe. I think there's a Remba and the Lemba. We're speaking about the Lemba right now. Now, the Lemba have a very high DNA percentage of something called a Kohanim gene. Now, this Kohanim gene is, I guess in plain day or present day, you would call it a Cohen gene. If you guys aren't familiar with this, that when you see a lot of Jewish people and their last name is Cohen, 95% of those people, I want to say, if it's 95 or maybe it's 50%, or 50 or 90 or 80% or something like that, of them actually carry this Kohanim gene, this Cohen gene. Now, this Cohen gene is a priestly gene, meaning in the Jewish sector, you are considered a priest if you have this Kohanim gene. Now, this Kohanim gene is passed down from father to son, so you can't just end up with this. And they didn't find this Kohanim gene in general Africa. No one in Africa has this gene. That goes back to the separation from Shem and Ham. Understand that Shem was different than Ham. They are both if the word is progenitors, progenitors, hope that's the right word, of the dark races, but Shem was the progenitor, if that's the word, of the Negroes. See, the Negroes were different. They were different than the other dark races, they were also a dark race, but they were different from the other dark races. They were set aside for God's own people for this very reason. And the Negroes are the ones that were on the west of Africa when they began enslaving Africa. And a large amount of those people, coincidentally enough, came from what tribe? The Lemba tribe, which has the highest rate of priest in their blood. And some scientists couldn't figure it out, how this was happening. Well, the Lemba have a long story that they are the true original Israelites and came down through Yemen and this and that and so on and so forth. You can YouTube it and do some research yourself. But the Lemba have a very, very unbreakable story. People have tried to challenge it before, but it looks like it's in their DNA, so they can't challenge it, of who they are. And these, my friend, is who God was talking about when he said you would have a nation of priests. I will make your people a nation of priests, the original Israelites. The ones here too in America and all across the world, but more, I would say more concentrated here in America, of the priest. Interesting. I think more let's just say this. I think more black people here in America. I'm just not going to say the word African American right now because, at the end of the day, we were in Africa, but we were settled in Africa. We weren't from Africa. But I think more black people here in America need to do more DNA testing to see if they have this priestly blood within them. And if they do have this priestly blood, I do believe these people are the remnant of who God was speaking about to Moses, related to Abraham, related to Moses, and with the Kohanim gene, direct descendants of Aaron. And who else? Jesus. These people are the people that are going to change the world. These people are the people that Israel needs to let back in and understand their position. These people are the people that God have ordained to bring us into the